In this video, we are going to talk about science and technology, uh, looking at agricultural innovation as a response to food security, not only in Nigeria, but in the world at large. We know that agriculture has played a significant role in our current discussion surrounding food insecurity, and sustainable agriculture has been at the center of the surging and ballooning increase in population worldwide. I think it's been a very serious issue, and government around the world have been worried how they can produce enough food to feed the growing population, and at the same time an agricultural sector that needs to improve constantly. We know that when the population increases, there's bound to be struggles for food, and the agricultural industry itself needs to be improved in order to meet the food challenges. So you face a lot of food insecurity because of climate change. You face food insecurity because of diseases. You face food insecurity because of the conflicts, particularly in the northern part of Nigeria, where local farmers have been displaced, and it becomes very difficult for farmers to stay in the farm at longer times. So with technology and agricultural innovations, farmers can spend less time on the farm. They can use small portions of land to produce very large amounts of food, and with that, the time they need to spend on the farm will be reduced, and then the yield is also improved. And these are the kind of things we discuss when we talk about science and technology and how that can be used to improve agriculture in response to food insecurity. Food shortages is something we are all aware of, particularly in the part where we live in northern Nigeria. We know that farmers lack access to credit facilities. We know that farmers also don't have abilities to store their food. We know that farmers don't know how to process what they produce. So part of what they produce is also wasted because they have no storage facilities. And with science and technology and agricultural innovations, they have better ways to store what they produce, and then they can sell them at the time they want. And it also gets to the consumers when it is still fresh and it still has a lot of nutritional content in it. So we need science, we need technology, we need a lot of innovations to solve most of this food insecurity crisis. Food technology, food science, agricultural innovation is important because the yield will not just increase, but also the quality and the content of the food itself would also increase. I'm very aware that students have asked me, why are we talking about improve and innovations in agriculture when we're talking about GMOs? And though I'm not a food scientist, but I know that these GMOs been modified, and most of the nutrients that are lacking sometimes in these food items are being added to them. So someone had told me, you produce potato, you have some vitamin A added to it, you have some vitamin C also added to it. So in potato, you can also have nutrients added. So you're not only feeding the population, you're providing the required nutrients with agricultural innovations. And so the problems of food insecurity would have been solved. And why this topic is also very important is the fact that oftentimes our leaders make policies as a standalone. They don't dovetail into others. So this topic becomes very, very key, because you cannot talk about agriculture without looking at science and technology. How they produce, how the farmer goes to the farm, how they produce, how they store it, how it gets to the consumers. What it does to the consumers becomes very key here. But the question I will leave with the class is this. I want you to think, what do you think are some of the challenges that you would face in terms of these kinds of agricultural innovations? We're talking about improving the yield. We're talking about farmers spending less time on the farm because of improved technology. We're talking about producing enough food to feed everyone, and also food with the right nutritional content to meet the nutritional needs of families. So how do we do this? What are some of the challenges you think we face? How can government in Africa and around the world better harness technology to improve agricultural innovations. And thirdly, I know that in Africa, and particularly in northern Nigeria, most of the women are involved in subsistence agriculture. How do we get science and technology closer to this set of women to be able to fit into the need of the society, and also believe that using their small piece of land behind the house, using a small pod, what can they do with those to improve the production of food and also solve the problem of food insecurity? With this, I'm sure, as an introduction and as a background, when we meet next during the next lecture, we'll be able to come out with more innovative ways to respond to food insecurity. Thank you.